Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Hellbound Part 2. This series tells the story of people who hear predictions on when they will die. When that time comes, a Grim Reaper appears in front of them and kills them. Can they escape the Grim Reaper? Let's find out in Hellbound Part 2. Hellbound Part 2 begins by showing Jong-hoon waking up in the hospital and realizing that no one else was there. Apparently all residents have chosen to lock themselves at home and limit activities outside the home after the execution incident of Young-za some time ago. Jong-hoon is confused, then goes to the police station and there is also no one. He then turns on the television and watches a news broadcast featuring an exclusive interview with the head of the New Truth Society, Jin-soo. While watching, he checks the computer on his desk and opens a CCTV recording folder somewhere. How shocked he is when he sees CCTV footage showing his daughter, Hee-young, dragging an unconscious man down a deserted street. Hee-young is still wearing the same black shirt as when they accidentally met at the New Truth meeting. Jong-hoon is even more shocked when he sees a television broadcast interviewing Jin-soo at his house via video call and shows the black shirt Hee-young was wearing hanging in his wardrobe. Without thinking, he immediately rushed to Jin-soo's residence. Meanwhile, one of the Arrowhead did a live stream and expressed their opinion about Young-za's recent execution, which made many people repent and fear God's punishment even more. Even so, the man who was doing the live streaming also said that there were still arrogant people and did not believe in God's punishment. The man from Arrowhead then shows a video of Hai-jin and her partner, Young-ho, still standing while everyone is prostrating and praying. Likewise Jong-hoon, who instead tries to shoot the Grim Reaper. The live streaming conducted by Arrowhead immediately triggered various responses from netizens. Because they are considered heretical and against God's punishment, Jong-hoon, Hai-jin and Young-ho are then considered dangerous enemies that must be removed as soon as possible. On the other hand, after watching Jin-soo's exclusive interview on a television station, Hai-jin feels that the situation in South Korea is no longer safe for her. She then decided to get out of the country as quickly as possible to Canada. She asks her mother to quickly pack things because they are leaving tonight. While packing, Hai-jin sees a package of documents sent by Pastor Kim Young-chul that she hasn't had time to open. She then opened the package, which turned out to contain a book about the future church. The book is written about the testimony of Jin-soo, who received a death prophecy 20 years ago. Hai-jin then intends to visit Pastor Kim's residence to find out more about the death prophecy that Jin-soo received. But before that, she decided to go to her office. She tries to call her partner, but gets no answer. Hai-jin parks her car in the building's parking area and asks her mother to wait in the car while she rushes to her office. Arriving at the office, how surprised she is when she sees the state of her office that has been ravaged by Arrowhead's actions. She calls Young-ho again, who finally answers the phone. Young-ho, who was seriously injured after being beaten by the Arrowhead members, then warns Hai-jin to run away as far as possible. On the other hand, the Arrowhead members arrive at the building's parking area and find Hai-jin's car parked there. The Arrowhead sees Hai-jin's mother in the car and drags her out. Without the slightest pity, they beat the frail old woman. Hai-jin, who arrived at the scene, immediately tried to save her mother, but she was also beaten by the Arrowhead, until finally the Arrowhead members hit her mother's head until she was unconscious and left there. Hai-jin, who saw her mother lying unconscious, immediately rushed to call an ambulance. Upon arrival at the hospital, the mother was immediately taken to the emergency department for medical attention. While waiting, Hai-jin noticed that the people around her were watching her. She then checks her cell phone and finds that she is a trending topic on the internet. A few moments later, Hai-jin approached her mother, who was still lying unconscious, and found out that her mother had died. She then feels very saddened by the loss of her mother. On the other hand, Jong-hoon finally arrives at Jin-soo's residence, which is already full of people wanting to join the New Truth Society. However, when he goes inside, he finds neither Jin-soo nor Hee-young anywhere. After leaving Jin-soo's residence, the people there then threw garbage at Jong-hoon for being instigated by the live streaming that the Arrowhead did some time ago. Not only that, he was also beaten by them until his cell phone was thrown. The persecution only stopped when one of the residents found Jong-hoon's cell phone, which coincidentally got a video call from Jin-soo. After Jong-hoon picks up the phone, Jin-soo asks him to turn on speaker mode, and he then tells the citizens to let Jong-hoon go see him. After getting the address of Jin-soo's current location, Jong-hoon rushes over to it. On the other hand, Hai-jin has left the hospital and is driving to Pastor Kim's address to find information about the prophecy of Jin-soo's death. She arrives at Pastor Kim's residence in the evening, where the man is already waiting for her arrival. Without further ado, the pastor immediately showed the audio recording when he listened to Jin-soo's confession. Jin-soo turned out to have received his death prophecy 20 years ago and will die exactly today. Hae-jin asks for a copy of the audio recording file, but Pastor Kim deletes it instead. Pastor Kim reveals that he has received a tempting offer from Jin-soo if he is willing to keep the prophecy of his death from everyone, in which Jin-soo offers him to take his place as the head of the New Truth Society after his death. Of course, the offer was not wasted by Pastor Kim because at this time, the New Truth Society has become the most influential religious organization, not only in South Korea, but also throughout the world. Pastor Kim then intends to kill Hae-jin, who is considered a threat, to gain the trust of Jin-soo and the members of New Truth. When Hae-jin tried to escape from Pastor Kim's residence, the arrowheads who had surrounded the place immediately ambushed and abused her. Pastor Kim then tells Hae-jin that he will be the head of the New Truth Society, which is different from Jin-soo. Not long after, Hae-jin was seen lying unconscious in a rocky area. Meanwhile, Jong-hoon finally arrives at an abandoned building, the location of which Jin-soo was told beforehand. After walking around the building for a while, Jong-hoon finally meets Jin-soo, who was waiting for him. Jin-soo then tells the detective that he had a death prophecy 20 years ago. At that time, Jin-soo, who was still in school, was visited by a Grim Reaper who said he would die 20 years later. After getting the prophecy, he continues to investigate the appearance of the Grim Reaper who comes to humans, all the while finding out what great sin he has committed until the Grim Reaper comes to him and says he will go to hell. Feeling unfair, he reveals that it was the reason he founded New Truth and points out that only those who do evil deeds will be visited by the Grim Reaper so that everyone will feel the fear of sinning, just like him. Jin-soo then says that he will die in a few minutes and gives Jong-hoon two choices, which is revealing to the world that he died tragically executed by the Grim Reapers, or that he can keep his mouth shut and choose to return to his home where Hee-young is waiting for him. Jong-hoon chooses not to reveal Jin-soo's secret, and right away, the Grim Reapers come and torture him before finally taking his life. He lets Jin-soo's charred body remain in the abandoned building while he drives home. Hee-young is waiting for him and immediately calms him down as if she already knew what had happened. 4 years later, the New Truth Society has grown very rapidly. They have now established a museum that immortalizes the place and evidence of the appearance of Grim Reapers executing humans they think have sinned. The New Truth Society also showed a video recording for a man suspected of committing suicide at a funeral. The spirit of the man and the 3 Grim Reapers suddenly appeared at the funeral. The Grim Reapers are then seen to continue torturing the man, even though he is dead, which is a warning to everyone that the Grim Reapers will still execute people who have committed major sins, even if the person commits suicide. After that, Pastor Kim, who is now the head of the New Truth Society, speaks publicly about the importance of being wise in life and avoiding sinful acts so as not to end up like Young-za. However, it turns out, the video recording of the man who committed suicide and Pastor Kim is just a demo, which still has to go through a series of editing processes before it is actually disseminated through television broadcasts. Several New Truth Society deacons seemed dissatisfied with the editing done by the television station and asked for some changes here and there. However, the wishes of the New Truth Society deacons were opposed by Young-zi, the television station producer who is in charge of the editing process. Shortly after a meeting with the New Truth Society, Young-zi gets a call from his wife, So-yoon, who recently gave birth. So-yoon tells him that their baby needs intensive care and asks him to come to the hospital with her. Young-zi tells his wife that he will see her at the hospital tomorrow after finishing his work. Young-zi rushes to find his partner, Jun-won, to re-edit the New Truth Society demo video. However, he could not find Jun-won's whereabouts, and when he approached his colleague's desk, he found an online loan service business card, along with an address on the back. Not long after, Jun-won came and immediately took the business card from his grasp. Young-zi then says that they should re-edit the New Truth demo video today. But Jun-won says that today he has to go somewhere with his wife because he has important business. Young-zi was forced to do the work alone. After finishing his work, Young-zi plans to head straight to the hospital to see his wife. While stuck in traffic, he gets a call from Jun-won's wife asking about her husband's whereabouts. Apparently, Jun-won lied to him that he went with his wife. Jun-won's wife sounded panicked and frightened because she was constantly terrorized by debt collectors who asked her to immediately pay off her husband's debt. Worried, Young-zi then decides to look for Jun-won at the address on the back of the business card he saw earlier. At the hospital, So-yoon sneaks into the nursery to see her son. However, upon arrival, she finds a Grim Reaper who tells her that her baby will die in 3 days. Suddenly, this makes her very shocked. She then found out through the New Truth application about the Grim Reaper's execution case but did not find a single case involving a newborn baby. So-yoon, who feels frustrated, then assumes that she has given birth to a sinner. Meanwhile, Young-zi has arrived at the fishing location listed on the business card to find out where his partner is. He spots Jun-won's car, but his partner isn't anywhere. Not long after, Young Z finds Jun-won sitting alone at the fishing spot. Seeing the arrival of Young Z, Jun-won then plunged into the water and tried to drown himself. But Young Z manages to catch up to him. Jun-won panicked, then told Young Z that he had received the death prophecy and would die today. He begs Young Z to keep their meeting at this place a secret, and also the fact that he received a death prophecy because he doesn't want his family to have anything to do with New Truth or Arrowhead. Shortly after Jun-won revealed his reason for coming to that place, a loud bang signaled the appearance of the Grim Reaper. In an instant, his body was dragged and drowned by the Grim Reaper. It didn't stop there. His body was then lifted and stabbed to death. Finally, the Grim Reaper took his life and his charred body was thrown near Young Z. Witnessing the execution process carried out by the Grim Reapers on his partner, Young Z immediately panicked and frightened. Not long after, a group of people came to the place and tried to help Young Z, who was still shocked and confused. The group leader, a man named Hong Jun, then asks Young Z to keep the incident that happened to his partner and the appearance of the Grim Reaper a secret. In his confusion, Young Z realizes that he saw Hong Jun while in his editor's room editing a video featuring him. In the distance, he also sees Hai Jin's figure watching him and his men as if she were one of them too. A moment later, he is unconscious. After securing Jun-won's body, Hong Jun and one of his men then approached Hai Jin. They assume that Young Z cannot be trusted and will expose the incident to New Truth. But Hai Jin says that she wants to observe the situation first and will keep an eye on him. The next day, the people from the New Truth Society, led by a man named Yuji, are seen already at the crime scene and trying to investigate the death of Jun-won, who they believe has been executed by the Grim Reaper, although his body is nowhere to be found. While investigating the crime scene, Yuji finds an online loan business card lying on the rocks. Because it is considered evidence whose existence cannot be underestimated, he takes a photo of the business card. On the other hand, Young Z, who had been unconscious all night, finally wakes up in his car somewhere, quite far from the fishing spot where he met Jun-won. He rushes to the hospital to see his wife and his newborn baby. However, he is shocked when his wife shows a video recording showing the appearance of a Grim Reaper who announces that their newborn baby will die soon. So-yoon, who is still frustrated, then wonders what big mistake her newborn baby has made to become the target of the Grim Reaper who will drag him to hell. She thinks that she has given birth to someone who will become a sinner. Young Z tries to calm his wife and find a solution to the problems they are facing. Although Young Z doesn't know what he will do to save the baby, he is determined to protect the baby from the Grim Reapers who will come to torture the baby and drag the baby to hell. This is the end of Hellbound Part 2.